Hi everyone, welcome back to FPL Moneyball, where we use data analysis for your fantasy football teams. Today we'll be doing a UEFA Fantasy Football Game Week 4 review, where I scored 51 points. So I'll be covering the key matches, player performances, and a slight preview of who to target into the next few game weeks. So let's jump right in to see how my team performed. I did score 51 points this game week, which is slightly higher than the average after playing my wildcard this game week. I did make a few transfers, such as bringing in Rashford, Lopez, McTominay, Fernandes, Vitinha, Dumfries, Burn, Cucurella, Gabriel, Trubin. So essentially my whole team changed, but not too bad performance, given that the returns wasn't so high this game week. A few of the big forwards such as Kane and Mbappe blanked, while Haaland, who I actually transferred out, got onto the score sheet. But the top player for me this game week was Dan Burn with 13 points. He only played 65 minutes but got one clean sheet, a goal and a few ball recoveries for a total of 13 points. Other than that, most of the players blanked. Also want to shout out Fermin Lopez, who got 2 assists in this game, and Olise with an assist as well, I believe. No, he didn't get it. Yeah, he did get an assist. McTominay, he got a few ball recoveries, and Gabriel got ball recoveries and a clean sheet as well, helping to contribute to my team. So that was a summary of how my team performed this game week. Looking at the matches that was played, firstly was the big matchup of the game week, which was PSG versus Bayern. A very thrilling match, which Luis Diaz actually scored 2 goals and got a red card during this game. And Paris failed to capitalize on a 10-man Bayern team and still ended up losing the match after they were playing against a 10-man. So Bayern still maintained their unbeaten record, and I believe their full all-win record with their new coach Vincent Kompany. And a bit disappointing that Olise and Kane didn't get much returns. It was Diaz that got the return, and Bayern were on the back foot after losing a man down. But nevertheless, a good performance from Bayern, and we'll look forward to more contributions from Kane and Olise. Looking at the expected goals, PSG slightly edged it, 2 versus 1.5 from Bayern. The top expected goals plus assist was actually Kang In Lee from PSG, followed by Vitinha, who I do have in my team. So a bit disappointing that he didn't get any returns, but it just highlights that he has good stats and he gets good opportunities and goal involvement. So next was the thriller Club Brugge 3-3 with Barcelona. I think many people expected Barcelona to win. However, they didn't manage to win. I think they did change their formation a bit, with Rashford moving to the left wing and Ferran Torres coming in as the striker. Some of the good performance from the Barcelona team for the forward positions, with Yamal and Ferran chipping in with the goals, and Lopez with 2 assists. However, the weak point for Barcelona continues to be their defense. They haven't been very great this season and have yet to keep a clean sheet. So I would kind of avoid the Barcelona defense at the moment. Looking at the expected goals, was a pretty tight game, although Barcelona did edge it slightly, 2.4 versus 2.1. Looking at the top goals assist was actually Carlos Forbes, followed by Yamal, I keep saying Yamal, and a few other Barcelona players, but disappointing that Barcelona didn't manage to get a win against a much easier opponent and dominate that match. Next was also another draw between Karabakh and Chelsea, also everyone thought would be a very one-sided game, with Chelsea expected to dominate, but Karabakh proving to be the underdogs in this game week and drawing with a very strong Chelsea side. Estevao from Chelsea continues his strong run of form in the Champions League with another goal, and Garnacho as well contributing there. The other disappointing performance from the rest of the Chelsea team, with Enzo only playing 45 minutes, possibly being rotated for the Premier League game this weekend, and João Pedro also coming off early with after 71 minutes. And Chelsea defense, who have looked pretty strong this season so far, have surprising to concede 2 goals against a much weaker opponent. Looking at the stats, actually, Karabakh won the expected goals, maybe because they are playing at home, but they did have a better performance here. Maybe Chelsea also looked a bit fatigued against the Karabakh side. In terms of the XGA, the top was Jankovic from Karabakh and followed by Gittins and Estaval from Chelsea. Next match was Arsenal beating Slavia Prague very convincingly, and Arsenal do look like the favourites, actually among the favourites to win the Champions League this season. Another clean sheet for them. I believe it's 4-4, four clean sheets in 4 matches for them in the Champions League this season, and their defense have proven to be unstoppable against opponents both in the Premier League and in the Champions League. So Saka contributing with a goal coming back from injury, and Mikel Merino, who is playing in the striker position for the injured Gyökeres, coming in with 2 goals, and Declan Rice chipping in with an assist from the midfield position. Looking at the stats, no surprises. Arsenal dominated the XG 1.8 versus Slavia Prague 0.5, and the top expected goals plus assists was Saka with 1.05, followed by a few other Arsenal players there. So next match was Inter beating Kairat 2-1, and this match was actually closer than expected. I fully expected Inter to dominate the easier opponent and playing at home as well. Many people would have expected them to win this comfortably 3 or 4-0, with Dumfries only getting a 6.6 rating and blanking this game week. The top man of the match was actually Augusto, who played at centre back, who got a clean sheet and a goal from the defense as well. So looking at the stats, clear domination actually in terms of the XG from Inter 2.4 versus 0.2. So Kairat scoring a very lucky goal there actually, with a very low expected goal of 0.15. Looking at the top XGA was Martinez, who didn't manage to score. The strikers, both of them, Esposito and Martinez, both had high XGA but didn't score. And then after that would be the wing backs, DiMarco and Dumfries as well, with pretty good XG stats. Next match was a 2-0 win with from Newcastle United, who continue as well their strong Champions League form. Dan Burn scoring a goal, and despite coming off in the 65th minute, and Joelinton contributing with a goal as well. Man of the match was Nick Pope from Newcastle. So another very solid defensive performance from Newcastle, and although their forwards haven't been performing very well, looks like their midfield and defense looks really strong. It was a pretty tight game with Newcastle edging the expected goals 1.2 versus 0.6 from Bilbao. The top XGA was Joelinton, followed by Jacob Murphy from Newcastle. Next was Liverpool beating Real Madrid 1-0. Goal from McAllister in central midfield and an assist from Szoboszlai, helping Liverpool to win a very strong Real Madrid side, and a very good defensive performance from Liverpool, managing to keep the top striker Mbappe at bay. And Real Madrid's form hasn't been as great recently in the Champions League. So very good performance from Liverpool actually to win this game against a very tough opposition, who many people were are expecting to be the favourites in this Champions League tournament. So clear domination here in terms of the XG. Liverpool winning that 2.5 versus Real Madrid 0.5. So definitely a performance to reflect on for Real Madrid, who will be shell shocked after being dominated by Liverpool in this game. Top XGA was Szoboszlai, followed by Cody Gakpo and Salah. We can see the clear domination in terms of the Liverpool players here, and the highest from Real Madrid was Mbappe with 0.23. Next was City beating Borussia Dortmund very comfortably 4-1. Haaland continues to score with a goal, 2 assists from Reinders, who I did transfer out of my team, while 2 goals from Phil Foden, who stole the man of the match performance with a 9.2 rating. Very impressive performance from City. Despite not keeping the clean sheet, they did win the expected goals pretty comfortably, 1.98 versus 1.02 from Dortmund. Top XGA was actually Haaland, who continues to show very good statistics in terms of the goal involvement, followed by Foden and Adeyemi from Borussia. So last match to cover is Tottenham beating Copenhagen 4-0. Wonder goal from Van der Ven was the highlight of the match, and Spurs did have a very dominating performance despite Brennan Johnson being sent off. But the man of the match was once again Vicario, who made a few decent saves to help Spurs keep the clean sheet. Looking at the statistics, clear domination from Spurs again with 3.32 versus 0.35 XG. And just looking at the players, Richarlison was the top here, and it's dominated by Spurs players as well. So after 4 game weeks, we look at the Champions League table, looking at the sides that have actually shown the best performance and scored the most points. It will be Bayern, Arsenal, Inter, City, PSG, Newcastle, Real Madrid, and Liverpool. So these are also players that I do have in my team. And there's also some weaker opponents here like Ajax, who just had their manager sacked recently. So I would possibly target the fixtures against those weaker teams. What else can we look at here? Looking at the statistics, actually the top scorer, Osimhen, breaking the matrix and toppling the big three of Haaland, Kane, and Mbappe here, all on 5 goals. But Osimhen with 6 goals actually and 3 penalty goals, so topping the leaderboard in terms of the goals scored in the Champions League so far. Top assists would be Dominic Szoboszlai, and a few other players, Hakimi, Aubameyang. Hakimi suffering that dreadful injury actually against Bayern under the challenge from Luis Diaz, so he looks to be out for a long time. So make sure to replace him in your teams. Looking at the top XGA, let me see if I can find that stat here, will be Osimhen, 2.54, probably because he does have a lot of penalties. So we do see some of the underperformers here that I will possibly avoid. Martinez and Jackson have had a lot of chances but haven't managed to score a lot of the goals. And on the flip side, Mbappe and Kane have been much more clinical in terms of their goals scored. Also, Estevao looks pretty interesting, and I maybe made the mistake of going for Enzo Fernandez ahead of Estevao, but Estevao looks really very good in the Champions League this season, despite Enzo looking better in the Premier League. So let's just take a look at the top ratings. Will be City, Bayern, followed by Real Madrid. Same old teams at the top of the leaderboard. Looking at the defense, who are the strongest defense in the league, going all the way here. Arsenal defense, 0 goals conceded so far, followed by Inter, Liverpool, Newcastle, and Bayern. So just to recap my performance, once again 51 points, not too sad about that. I do think that it was the right decision to play the game week, to play the wildcard this game week, targeting a few fixtures, easy fixtures ahead. Looking forward, I do think that there's pretty good matchups ahead for players like Mbappe. Mbappe looks like he is having the best fixture, while Harry Kane does face tough fixtures against Arsenal away. So that's it for my Champions League Matchday 4 recap and review. Hope you found this video interesting, and make sure you like and subscribe for more Fantasy Football Premier League content that is going to come on later this week. I'll be releasing my Fantasy Premier League Game Week 11 team selection video soon tomorrow. So make sure you like and subscribe and stay tuned for that. See you in the next video.